Welcome to the podcast, the captain of the Portland Winterhawks, number 29 in your program, number 1 in my heart. Oh my goodness. We got Nick Cicek. How are we doing today, Cheech?
I'm good. Thanks for having me out. I'm excited to be here.
So before we go on, is that the nickname? Is that what people call you, Cheech?
Yeah, it's been like that for literally as long as I can remember. Literally everybody calls me Cheech, even on and off the ice. My brother's gotten that nickname too. So I think it's just it came from the hockey world, but it's everywhere now. Like my teachers call me it sometimes. So
Awesome. That's awesome. Anyways, let's move right along here. So tell us a little bit about what's going on in Portland right now. You guys are playing, obviously you guys are playing games, but how are things going for you guys in the Winterhawks currently?
Yeah, so we just started last weekend. We had 3 games in 4 days playing Tri-Cities, Seattle, and Spokane. So this year we're only playing in the U.S. division because of COVID and everything. So we'll be seeing those 4 teams because it's Portland, Everett, Tri-Cities, Seattle, and Spokane in our division, who, for the people who don't know. So we'll be seeing those teams a lot. The start went well. We unfortunately lost our first one in Tri-Cities in overtime, though, so at least we came out with a point. But then we had a couple really good games after that, beating Seattle and Spokane. So I'm happy with our start. I mean, it's a bit different this year because you don't have a preseason to sort of get into things, especially for the rookies. I feel bad for them because they just jump right on the ice and it's game speed just like that. And it's definitely tough going from a lower level to our level and getting used to that speed.
So what's it like right now? I mean, usually when you guys play those teams, the Seattles, Tri-Cities, those games are pretty heated regardless because you guys are in close proximity. Great word, I know. It must be crazy right now, right? Because you guys are going to be playing each other, more times than usual seasons.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some heated matchups. I mean, usually Seattle's our biggest rivalry, I would say, just because we're so close to each other. And it's always a battle when we go into their building. Usually it's packed and it's really loud. Obviously, there won't be fans this year, but we have a back-to-back against them this upcoming weekend. So I know for a fact there's going to be some battles and it's going to be a grind going through the season. But I think a lot of us play hockey for those battles and are sort of excited to go into it.
So is that kind of the motivating factor for you guys? I know we talked a little bit about the season being different for you guys, no fans. Is that a motivating factor for you guys? Just the fact that you're going to play Seattle and teams like that you have these rivalries with, no playoffs this year. Is that what you guys kind of looking at, like the season series being the series kind of like the playoffs would be?
Yeah, for sure. I think our goal personally is to be the best in our division, because if we were to have playoffs, that's what we would want to be going into those extra months and hopefully moving on to a Memorial Cup. But I mean, for me and for our team, I think the goal is to beat them all as much as we can. And at the end of this short 24-game season, just end up on top of our division.
So you got named as captain this year. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Were you expecting the C?
No, I was not, to be honest. I knew coming into our team as an older 20-year-old and a guy being there for like the last 3-4 years that I was most likely going to be part of the leadership group, but I had no idea I was going to get the C.
And as a captain and with your leadership group, how hard is it this year? Have you had to do anything different this year to motivate the crew?
Well, obviously, because we don't have playoffs and stuff, it's a bit different. Like, I think what's great about our team is everybody just has that competitive mindset where no matter what we're playing for, we don't want to lose. Like, we don't want to have that feeling on bus trips home or anything. Like, no one loves that feeling. So I think everybody's really grinding just to, first of all, get better personally, because a lot of these guys are going to be here next year and there's going to be a full season next year. And we want to be at the top of the league where we left off last year. So I think a lot of this year is about development of our younger players. But then at the same time, we don't want to give an edge to the teams in our division and show them that we're weak or anything because of this shortened season. We're going to prove that we're the best just like we were last year.
Cheech, when I've been out on the ice with you, you're a lighthearted guy. You kind of, you can tell, you can see a smile on your face. You're out there laughing it up with the guys. Is that kind of how you kind of like to run your room as well? Are you a lighthearted captain, or are you a little bit more captain serious behind closed doors?
Well, what I said to like our media guy when they asked like, "Are you gonna change in any way?" What I told him was, I think the point of a letter, so in my case a C, is like I've got this great opportunity and great honor to wear the C because of who I am as a person and a player. So I'm not going to change myself just because I wear a C. I mean, I was chosen to be the captain because of who I am. So I'm just going to be the same way. I don't like being on guys like hard and being in their face all the time. Like obviously I'm there to push them and I'm there to help them out. And if need be, I will get in their face. But I like to hang out with the boys. I like to joke around with them. And I think that makes it easier on a lot of the younger kids where they don't have to be scared of this older guy that they're just meeting, where they can just come hang out with me and just be boys.
That's awesome. Looking back on your hockey career, you probably had a lot of great captains that that you played for. Anybody in particular that you kind of, I don't want to say, took some things from, but any guys that you kind of that mentored you, that helped you along the way?
One that sticks out is for sure hometown hero Cody Glass. I mean, NHL player now, first drafted player to Vegas ever. I mean, his list goes on of the achievements he had, but in the room, I really looked up to him, just how focused he was on game days, how serious he was, how he had his set routine every day and how he would never change it on those game days. And he really built himself into being the pro he is today. I really did take a lot of pointers from him. And I loved how he really just led by example. Every time he was on the ice, you knew he was a danger to score, a danger to make a play. And he's almost always the best player out there when he was on the ice. So I try to be like him. Obviously, we're different positions, play a really different game. But my captain I had last year, his name is Johnny Ludwig. He was drafted by the Panthers in the 3rd round. He's playing for Syracuse right now in the A. And I really look up to him because we play a really similar game. He's also a defenseman. So I really tried to follow in his footsteps last year. And like I would ask him all the time for pointers and things that we could work on together in practice. And I became really close to him. Like he's one of my best friends now. So I feel honored to wear the C after him and really just, I'm going to try to do exactly what he did with the team.
So you mentioned kind of, just back to Cody Glass a little bit. One thing that I've noticed about you and him, like a kind of a comparison, is that you guys are really approachable guys. You talked about some of the younger guys coming in. You're a 20-year-old, and I know when I was 16, the 20-year-old guys, I was like, oh, some guys
Yeah.
aren't as approachable. Is that something that you enjoy bringing to the table and help the younger guys kind of get to know the league?
Well, for sure. I mean, like when I was young coming in, I remember when I was 16, like we had some scary 20-year-olds, big boys that I did not even want to look at because I didn't know what they were going to say to me. And I was always nervous around them. And I remember those feelings. It really wasn't that long ago. And I would not want to wish that upon anybody coming into, first of all, a new league where they're trying to prove themselves to stick in a position where they want to be. And for like one of the top organizations like Portland, like you already have enough stuff on your mind just trying to make the team. I'm trying to be there just to like hang out, like on our day off, let's go golfing, let's get to know each other, let's meet up, let's go out for food. I mean, obviously this year's different, we can't do those things, but I try my best to at least go hang out with them when we're at the rink, because I mean, we're at the rink for half the day. I might as well spend some time with some of these younger kids and get to know them and help them feel more comfortable, because in the long run, that's just going to help our team get closer, and that's going to help us in the win column.
Any interesting things that yourself or the team set up as a team build during this, lockdown or this bubble that, players are in right now?
Yeah, about a week ago, I would say, one of our days off, our head coach, Mike Johnston, told us to come in and we'll do a little team building exercises. So we just did little things like they picked partners for us, and we go and they had a questionnaire sheet for us, and we pretty much introduced our partner to the rest of the team. So we all did that. And then after that, Mike gave us a sheet that showed some like big parts of Portland, downtown Portland, that we could go see and take pictures with. So we pretty much did like a little picture scavenger hunt. So we split up into like 4 or 5 groups. Each group had a different list, but it all ended at Voodoo Donuts, which is this very popular donut shop in Portland. So we all went around, and I think it was nice for the younger kids that haven't been there because they get to see a really cool city like Portland and get to look at these really amazing, a lot of the things that are downtown, and get to just explore when you don't really have a lot of time of that during the season because you're just so focused. And then obviously get a really good donut at the end of it. So that was a good time.
Sounds all right to me.
Yeah.
A lot better than Robin's Donuts, I would say. Voodoo Donut sounds pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, if you're looking down, you got to go there. It's a good spot.
Okay. So let's say you got a young kid coming in, 16 years old, fresh into the league. You talked about it going, your junior career goes by fast in a blink of an eye sometimes. What's some things that you've learned in your 3 years in the league or 4 years in the league that you pass on to a new guy coming in?
The biggest thing I would say, and I swear every 20-year-old says it in their last year, is don't take your time for granted, because it really, it does go by quick, and it sort of blows my mind. I remember my first training camp when I was 15. I remember walking in the first time, and it feels like it was literally yesterday. And I'm not just saying that because everybody says that. It really does feel like that. Another thing with kids coming into Portland, and you could say with any team, I guess, the WHL is a very skilled league with very skilled and high up coaches that really just be a sponge and absorb everything and just try to listen to your coaches. For me, I would not be the player I am today without the coaching staff I've had with Portland. They've really excelled my game throughout seasons. I know for a fact I'm a completely different player than I was when I first came in this league, for the better. And I think that came because I was just open to critical feedback. You got to have a tough skin. Coaches are going to seem like they're mad at you, but really all they're trying to do is just help you get better and help the team out. And it's hard for a younger kid when a coach like Mike Johnston or Don Hay, who are these famous coaches in the WHL, are giving it to you or yelling at you. It's not because they're mad at you. They just want to teach you something that you need to learn to get to that next level, which their ultimate goal is to obviously win games and win championships, but they want every single one of our players to go play pro eventually.
Mm-hmm. You talk about Mike Johnson. What is it like playing for a guy that, you look at his resume, you spend time with Vancouver, with LA, right? Pittsburgh. What's it like playing for a guy like that where that he's been in the NHL and he's been through the grind at every level?
Yeah, it's really cool. I've never had a coach of his caliber before, and he has great people around him too that just makes the organization amazing. But Mike himself is a really great coach and a great person. He's, like I said, helped me so much improve my game and really helped me get a chance to potentially go to that next level. And even he gave me a chance to play in the WHL, which when I was 14 or 15, I would never see myself doing. And he really helped improve my game all the way from my skating to my puck decisions and everything along the way. And like you said, his resume is unbelievable. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't really imagine playing for any other coach after I've been with him for 4 years. He's really helped me out, and I've grew to really be close with him. And it's been a great experience for me.
Well, we're going to send him this podcast so I can guarantee you're getting more ice time after that.
Great.
Okay, so let's kind of get you kind of said there in the last answer that you didn't expect yourself to be where you are, say at 15, 14 years old. What was the path as a kid that you were, we all wanted to play in the WHL because it's the best league, right? The CHL is the best league. But when you were younger, was it always the WHL, or did you have aspirations of playing college hockey as well?
So the thing for me is my dad, he's from Turkey. He's an immigrant. My mom is from Winnipeg, but her brothers didn't play hockey. She didn't play hockey. So I'm the first one in my family to sort of play hockey. I have uncles and stuff that they played hockey, but never to the level I've been at. So if I'm being completely honest, when I was 14, just before my draft year, the year before my WHL draft year, I didn't even know what the WHL was. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, it was mind blowing to me. And guys like Riley Stotts and Jet Wu, who I was close with growing up, they really like taught me what it was and showed me what that path was. And obviously those were high end picks from Winnipeg for my age group. So, I mean, in my 15-year-old year, I was getting teams like 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe teams talking to me, which Portland being the most, they were definitely the most interested. I could just tell from like, they would give me phone calls and stuff and talk to me. And it was weird because I wasn't expecting this. All my buddies, like Riley, was getting calls from every single team and obviously getting a lot of exposure. So anyways, draft day comes along and I really wasn't expecting anything. But I remember it clearly. I was in English class and 7th round pick, Portland called my name. And I mean, it was special. Like, you'll never forget a draft, no matter what level it's at. It's a cool feeling. Someone picked you out of all these kids. And I mean, if I'm being honest, I wasn't that great of a hockey player when I was 15. Like, I don't really remember my stats, but they weren't amazing. So my parents obviously were super excited for me, but it was more just like, let's see where this takes us. My dad and my mom started learning more about other options, and then the ball started rolling. And then, so I went to training camp when I was 15, came back obviously. And when I was 16, I went up, and that's when Mike Johnston came in. So I wasn't drafted by Mike. He came back when I was 16. I was drafted by Jamie Compon, who's the assistant coach for the Jets, which is sort of cool. So Mike came in and whatever, I went through training camp and I stayed like the extra week after training camp. And then he said, pretty much, look, we have a lot of D in our system right now and we don't have room to sign anybody, but we're going to be making some moves this year. So we'll be reaching out. And I mean, at that point, I didn't expect like, oh, they're getting me for sure. Like, coaches say a lot of things. You don't really know what's going to happen. But then later on, I got offered to sign. And then I remember I was at the Iceplex right before one of my Wild practices. And my dad came up and he's like, yeah, Mike just called me. So that was really cool. I mean, that's when it started, the balls rolling in your head like, holy, I could be a WHL player. This is crazy. And I mean, for someone like me, a 7th round pick, it's sort of like, okay, like, it's a 7th round pick. Who cares? Like, I'm not like a 1st or a 2nd round pick where it's like, oh, those guys are going to the Dove for sure. So at that time, my dad had been looking into stuff and we're thinking about college. But for me, I was big for my age, big defenseman, which sort of fits the role of more of a CHL player rather than a college player. So he ultimately said, it's up to you. And I was like, man, Portland Winterhawks, I got to go for it. So I did it. And then, yeah, I went back the next year.
So 7th round draft pick, now captain of the Portland Winterhawks.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen without working your butt off. Maybe kind of tell everybody kind of what you did at the first couple of years there. Making that jump is a big jump. What are some things that when you were 16, 17, that when you came back in the summer that you thought, hey, I got to get better at this if I want to last in this league?
Yeah, well, I knew right from the beginning, I've been told at every single level I've been at that my skating is not good enough to move on. And as you know, I've worked with you on it. That is my main focus every summer, no matter what age. Even last summer, my main focus is skating. I want to get better outside edges, better inside edges. I want to get lower. I want to get faster. I want to get stronger. That's all there is to it. I feel like for me as a player, I've always been able to think the game well, and I've had a decent, good hockey IQ, but my legs couldn't get me out of like trouble when I'm in the corner as a defenseman because I just wasn't fast enough. I wasn't quick enough. I wasn't agile enough on my edges. So every summer I've been grinding to get my skating better. And probably one of the best compliments I've ever got from Mike was when I think I was 18. And when I was 17, I really didn't play. Like I'm pretty sure I sat 15 straight games, then played one game, got sent home, played blues, and then was up and down when they needed me. So I didn't really play that much when I was 17. My 18 year was like my full year. And I remember halfway through my 18 year, Mike said like, we had like halfway like year meetings, like personal meetings personal meetings. And Mike said, I've told you every time that you need to get your skating better. And I can really tell you've been working on it, because like you are a totally different skater, and I've really not seen someone change their skating that much. And for me, that was everything, because I knew like if I just get my skating up, the rest will come with practice, but skating, like it needs to be my priority. And I think that's like, skating is not going to be everybody's thing. Like Seth Jarvis is an amazing skater. Obviously he's an amazing player in total, but his thing is not going to be skating. He's going to have something else to work on. I think a big thing is go to your coach. Don't be scared and be like, if you could tell me 1 or 2 things that I need to work on in the summer, what is it? And Mike, for me, was just skating, outside edges, and pivoting. And that is all I did all summer, as much as I could, because I knew that he was being honest with me. He has no reason to tell me something that isn't true. And I knew myself that my skating, when I played that first game when I was 17, guys were blowing by me like it was nothing. And it was embarrassing almost. So I knew I had to get better. And I did, slowly and surely. I mean, it's not going to come overnight. So I worked on it every summer, during every season, every practice, the end of practice, I work on my skating. And it's finally starting, excuse me, it's finally starting to pay off. And like this last year, I felt amazing. Like I felt no one can beat me one-on-one around me. Like skating's way better, my pivoting's way better. And this year, like I've just played 3 games, but I already feel like I'm one of the strongest skaters out there. I can blow by guys. No one's beating me. And it's just crazy how much it's really paid off for me and helped me to be the player I am today.
Well, I love that you just mentioned, for all the younger listeners of the podcast, to go ask your coach, right? And to a lot of times, I see players working at things that they're already good at. And I always say that's great, like know your strengths, but it's super important too that you understand that, there are going to be areas of your game that you need to get better at. And it's important that you don't shy away from those areas, and you really go at those areas with some, some training in the summer or whatever. So I'm glad that you kind of mentioned that, because I think that's super important for younger players to know.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so let's kind of look at what the future has to hold. You're 20-year-old this year. Any decisions made for next year, or what are you thinking about doing? Are you thinking about going to university? Are you thinking about going pro? Kind of let us in on what the scoop is.
Well, as of now, as it's always been my goal, is to play pro. That's always been my goal. I feel like I've worked really hard and I've gotten to a place in my game where I can make that step. And being in such like a well-known organization under such good coaching really helps. Being an older leader on the Portland Winterhawks helps. I mean, we get a lot of scouts from universities and pro leagues that come to our games just because it's the Portland Winterhawks. Mm-hmm. And now that my role's been extended to where I'm getting more minutes, I'm playing a lot, I feel like I can make that jump. I just got to work really hard. I have a really good agent, Shane Corson with Roy Sports Group, who's helped me along the way. And I mean, I feel like I'm in a good position, the best position I can be to get to that next level. And now I just got to play and prove to them that I can make it there.
Do you think the way that you kind of came up through the WHL is going to help you, in your future? There's some guys that expect things given to them, and you're clearly a guy that feels like he's had to work for everything he's got. Do you think that's going to help you in this next chapter?
I think for sure. I mean, my whole life, I've never been like the top tier defenseman in Winnipeg or the top tier defenseman in the WHL. And I've had to grind every summer, every season, every practice to get to where I am today. And it's been tough. Like, I won't lie. There's been a lot of days where I'm like, holy, this was a grind today. But it's finally showing and paying off. And I think another thing is every year I felt like I've gotten better. And my coach has told me, you've made strides every single year. And I think that's one thing that pro scouts look at is, are you progressing each year or are you plateauing? And I think personally for me, I've gotten better every single year. And I'm going to keep getting better because that's the only way I'm going to make it to the next level. And if I get that great opportunity to get there, to stay there, you got to keep getting better. So, I mean, I'm just going to keep working.
Well, Cheech, thanks for coming on. It's been a pleasure kind of talking to you, getting to know your hockey path a little bit better. I want everybody to check it out. If you didn't check it out already, Cheech scored a sick goal on his offside there, getting low. Hey, man, the edge work's working, man.
Yeah, getting better, getting better.
Yeah, it was looking good. So if you're bored, go on YouTube and check out Nick Cicek's goal there. But we wish you all the best of luck there, Nick, for the remainder of the season, and we can't wait till we see you in the summertime.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. It's really an honor. I mean, you guys have helped me a lot with my skating over the summers, and I can't thank you enough. So I can't wait to see you guys after the season.
All right, man. Well, take care, hey?
Thanks. You as well.
Say hi to Jarvie for us.